Hey guys, this is Steve Wiideman. I'm here with Chase. Help me pronounce your last name, Reiner. Chase Reiner. And he's in town for the weekend, and I kidnapped him from his girlfriend who's actually hanging out in the room with us. Hope is to just kind of hang out, talk about shop while we actually have a chance to meet. So thanks for coming.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So you're working on a lot of cool things right now. You've got this new roadmap. Tell me about that, because you said you have some new things that you're up to with it.
Totally. So the roadmap that I've created is sort of just a checklist of, well, the way it was created, let me talk about that first. The way it was created was when I was doing audits on my YouTube channel, I was doing like 2 or 3 audits a week, depending on how many people contacted me. But overall, I started doing like, in the last year, probably close to a couple hundred audits.
Right.
And so I realized, just doing the audits based off just like looking at it and then writing it down on a notepad is kind of like not, consistent, right? So
efficient.
Right, and efficient. And I also wanted to be able to take the roadmap and just like sort of give it to other people, and in a way where I could also put tutorials next to the things that, I recommend people fix. So say, for instance, you want to
So they don't look at it and go, what the heck? What does he want me to do with this?
Right,
so you put a little tutorial next to it.
Right, so say for instance, I do an audit for somebody and then they want to go and like fix something in it and they can't because they don't know how to. Well, now there's like sort of like a little tutorial where it's like, if the indexation on the website's off, this is what I recommend. Index categories, don't index authors, whatever it is, right? And then there's a little tutorial that shows you like, oh, well, this is how you would do that in Yoast, right?
Sure.
So that's sort of like just the short story of it, and I've been improving it. It's still pretty new, but yeah.
And it's been selling well? You finally getting it, the momentum going?
So I came up with a couple of ways how I wanted to monetize it, and the first thing I did is I started just giving it out for free. And it's funny when I did that,
because you have to find all the errors and bugs and kinks.
Right. So, well, that, and also I'm a big believer that you can't really give away, you can't sell things that you can't give away. Yeah. So I usually try to give away something first before I sell it. Right. Even with my audits, when I first started doing them, I was doing them for free for people on YouTube. I was like, I was doing an audit of your website, and then I realized a bunch of people wanted it, and as supply went up, supply went down, demand went up, whatever, and I started selling it.
So when you first started doing audits, so even before you started selling the template and the roadmap, what was your initial price point? Just for fun, so someone comes to you and says, hey, can you give me a strategy for my site? Okay. And you're like, sure, and I've never really done that, I'm really more the practitioner, but sure, let me put one together for you. What was your pricing, just for fun, just so we can share stories?
So the pricing for the roadmaps, so I have a value ladder.
Like pre-roadmap though, when you were just doing a full strategy for someone.
Full strategy.
Full audit and strategy for somebody.
When I first started, free.
Yeah. Well, beyond the free point, when you said, okay, I'm going to start selling this.
Then I started selling it. Then I started selling it for I think it was like $100.
Wow.
Yeah.
I started mine for $5, only because, I was looking at how Bruce Clay and other people were doing it back in the day, like $20,000. Well, I'm still kind of new. I'm going to start for $500. Right. So you're just a couple $100 under what I did.
Yeah. So the reason behind that is because, the audits now are still pretty cheap. They're like $200, $300 depending on what. But you have to also remember that the audits are not fully comprehensive. I'm not creating the audit for implementation per se, because when I do the audit, it's sort of just, it's more of a selling template. Okay. So the way I create the audit is to really sell. Like when you look at it, it goes over certain things that are more like benchmarks that you want to set for clients when you first get a client. Like we export all of the demographics and conversion metrics and stuff like that from analytics so that we can sort of look at things that can be improved really easily. Like say for instance on one of the top 10 landing pages they have, which we look at, there's a 1% conversion rate. Why is that, right? Or why is the conversion tracking not even set up in the first place?
I see. So just like hot buttons.
Right.
Okay.
So what we do is we just kind of make like this huge roadmap. Well, not huge, but
I saw it.
Sort of large.
It's comprehensive.
It's comprehensive, but not in the sense that you're taking the roadmap and then giving it to somebody. Like these are all the URLs you need to fix. These are the title tags. Because when you look at like an audit that, like say for instance, what's his name, Alan Blywace. Yeah. When you look at his type of audit, it's like fully comprehensive. Like it will tell you exactly what you need to change. Sure. Mine's more just like it tells you what to change, like in the sense of like you need to fix your title tag or you need to fix something like that, or you need to add schema markup. But it doesn't tell you actually like what specific code you should put in there, that kind of thing.
It's up to you to watch the tutorial to learn how to do it yourself.
Right, or to actually have somebody go and implement it, and then for them to actually figure out what they should actually put in there, right? So it's more of like here's all the things that are messed up. Here's like some benchmarks that for instance, this could be really improved. Right. Here's a top 10 list of the things that we should fix first, and then this is the price, because everything that we put as recommendations on the top 10 then go into pricing.
I see.
So say, for instance, you need to fix your indexation,
okay.
or you need to do on-page basics.
Yeah.
That is priced out as a product. So we take the service
okay.
and we productize it into a price.
That makes sense. So you're doing fulfillment work too, not just...
Right, so the roadmap then goes to the... Yeah, and actually about 50% of the people who end up contacting me for a roadmap will actually end up buying the service or product. So the reason why I call it service is because when people buy the, say for instance, package, say it's like $1,300 for like a local package, right?
Sure.
Which most local business owners don't want to pay more than that on a first.
Right, that's pretty steep for a small business.
Right, exactly. And so we actually usually get that price, and then what will end up happening is then they'll end up becoming like a monthly reoccurring thing, but we don't lock them in because most people just want to try it out. Sure. And the way we found that is we actually, we started replicating a company that's doing really well, which is called the Hoth, and they're all... You probably know about them. Yeah. They make like $600K a month. And
I wasn't super excited about them when they first came out because of their tactics and PBNs and other things that they're promoting. But I love their branding.
They have great branding, great social media, and
they had Ric Flair at the conference a couple years ago.
Really?
You can't go wrong with Ric Flair, right?
Yeah, I don't know who that is, but
oh my God, how old are you?
24.
Okay, yeah, you're killing me. I'm 41.
Okay.
And he's an old WWF wrestler.
Okay.
So if you follow like the wrestling stuff back in the day, he was kind of a big deal. Yeah. I'm feeling really old right now, though.
Well, no, it's all good. They have a mascot that they run around with and throw money at people. I mean, it's great. But the thing is that you look at their actual services, and I found that with a lot of people. And I don't want to name these certain agencies, but there's another person I found out there where they have great templates, and I took them and I'm like, look, even the software I was telling you about. I don't want to say the software, but and I'll tell you a little bit about this after because it's sort of in the works, but. There's software out there where it's like the problem is that a lot of these companies are either made by people who don't really know SEO and they're doing it for the money, or they're making these tools and they're just programmers and they don't actually they know coding really well, but they don't actually know how SEOs think of this stuff. Sure. And so I think there's a lot of opportunity out there when it comes to what we do because I think that the bar is set so low in this industry.
It's true. Yeah, and each software does something really well, but can't do everything really well. Even the enterprise suites, like we use Conductor quite a bit, and we love them. We use Bright Edge, Search Metrics, SEO Clarity, all these big tool sets, and they don't, even though they're starting to marry to third-party tools, like link tools or whatever, they still don't seem to have the roadmap down. I think they have some really good insights, competitive market share, you can see some really cool things in there, but they're not actionable. And even in a sense where you're like, hey, I need to optimize this page and here's the subset of keywords I want to use and optimize for, it's going to tell you need to get that into your title. Well, there's 6 keywords. There's no way all 6 are going to fit in the title and still be a good user experience. Right. So it does get a little bit silly when you think about how some of the SaaS stuff works. So you've got this roadmap now. It's finally kind of getting on its feet. It's matured a bit now. You're selling it, you're growing it, and it's the precursor to actually doing fulfillment work, which is something I would never go back to be honest with you. I would never go back, only because I get walked on pretty easy as a tech geek. A client comes in and says, I need you to do X, even if it wasn't in scope. I'm like, anything for you, client. 2-3 years go by and like, oh my God, I've been like a client slave forever, doing anything and everything for happy clients. And we just decided, let's just use our 20 years or so of experience and just build something that we can scale. So this year we're doing something kind of similar to what you're doing, but it's really more industry specific. So we're building some things out for attorneys. Hey attorney, here's the taxonomy you need. Here's the pages you need to create on your website. Here are the keywords to emphasize and where you'd want to emphasize those keywords based on their search volume. Here's all the law firm directories and that sort of thing. And we're doing that kind of piecemeal for each industry and selling it for just kind of a flat rate thing. And that gives me the chance to kind of scale up. Yeah. But anyway, so that's awesome. It's really exciting. What else are you doing this year? What's the summer plan?
So for SEO or just in general?
Just in general.
Just in general.
What are you guys up to this summer? You got the roadmap's still the priority in terms of a product, right? You got SaaS you're doing, Secret Project.
So you got a couple SaaS products going. One of the ones actually has to do with the roadmap. So the roadmap's actually going to hopefully be a SaaS product.
Sweet.
So yeah, we're actually developing an SEO sort of checker, which is going to check everything within that roadmap and then feed through an API into the actual Google Drive or Google Sheet. So all the things that we spend hours checking for people, basically we can have it all done.
All the Search Console links, for example, like robots, text files, and
all that stuff. Yeah, all this, and then also for like when we go and check on-page issues and say, for instance, we do want all those pages that title tags are too short or meta descriptions are missing.
Right.
Because right now I'm just putting a no. These do need to be fixed on the sheet where. Now we'll be able to just crawl the site, take all those things that don't have meta descriptions, and just automatically plug them into the sheet.
Wow. So
people could just, when we hand it to the implementer, they just take that sheet and they go, oh, these are all the meta descriptions. Let me just copy the body tag or whatever and plug it into the meta description.
Right. Or they could use SQL script and just inject it in if they have their fields right. Yeah, they could save a ton of time.
Coding, but
that would save a ton of time. That's super cool. So how long have you been doing SEO now?
Probably 3 years.
3 years?
Yeah.
So you're ahead of a lot of the older people who are in search because you're looking at the world of search now, and there's a lot of the veterans that are even some of my peers that still live in like 2005, 2007 in terms of how SEO was done back then. I kind of feel like those people have gotten to the place where they're not really willing to learn about all the newer things that are happening in search. Like I'm sure for your clients, you're talking about how they need to address voice search and feature and answer boxes and what kind of syntax needs to go into form fields so that mobile users don't have to pull over and use their keypad. They can just double click in a field because you have the autofill attribute already applied. You can just be done, right? So you're probably talking to clients in a different way, I think, than some of the older guys. And in fact, I met with one of them last week, and he's still living in like 1990s world of search, and I tried to show him like, look, here's how search is evolving. Here's what's changed. All this other stuff we used to do 10, 20 years ago, it's not even like relevant anymore. But a lot of them just don't want to take the time to learn it. Any advice for them? Like what would you say to somebody who was 10 years ago really good at search and is still kind of giving out older advice? What do you do to keep up to date, and what are some of the things that you recommend to them?
Well, it's sort of a loaded question because the thing is like I have a lot of respect for people who've been in search for a while.
Right.
And I mean, I look at those people and I know that they have a ton of knowledge that like I probably don't even have. I see things going like towards the garbage. Like for instance, like link building, I'm really a big believer that that's becoming less and less valuable over time.
Same here.
And I've been saying that for like the last year, and people like even like the conventions I'll go to, like people will laugh at me. And I'm like, I don't care, dude. It's not a big deal to me. I think the biggest thing really is like, for what I see from somebody who's younger, my problem is that I wish that they would get out more, like and share more, because I think the biggest problem with
they share to themselves at some of these little conferences.
Right, and the thing is that I think it's great that they have all this knowledge and everything, but what's the point in having a bunch of information and not sharing it? Like, and I know a lot of like the people think back in the day, or like even now it's like, well, if I share this, then other people will take this and make money off it. But people are making money with worse knowledge than what you're actually like. Would you rather see a world making money off of bad information or good information, right? And actually evolving.
And they'll sit there and they'll complain. Even on Facebook, we see a lot of our peers complaining about something, but they're not willing to really push content out to help stop it, or to create a movement to help stop that kind of stuff, like the PBN crap that's still out there, and some people still believe in it. And one day the rankings start to tank, and like, well, you knew what was going to happen. Just change domains and start over. What?
Yeah.
It's like there's so much bad advice that you're right. I wish.
And it just feels like so much like anger. Like I would like to learn in a place where people are really able to share and like help and that kind of thing. And I feel like people who have all this information, they're just not sharing it. It becomes so like so much based around ego and like how good I am versus like how much I actually help. And so like the biggest thing for me when I first started my YouTube channel, of course I didn't know like really that much, right? I was just trying to share tutorials because I just love teaching. And as I started sharing, I started learning more, and I've actually found that by sharing I've been able to like become responsible for the fact that I need to be able to share things that actually are like make sense.
It's true.
Right? And so that's like for me like something that's I just sort of relate to that more than that's why sometimes I feel like some of the Facebook groups we're in, I don't like even asking questions because I just get, I asked a question once and I almost got kicked out of one of the groups.
It's been really weird and political. I don't think I've participated as much as I used to, and you're right, there's one or two personalities, I think we might have mentioned one of them earlier, who have a hard time with just discussing an idea around something, whether it's black hat, gray hat, whatever. This is just a talking conversation, and then they update their T&C. We're not talking about this, this, and this, and this. Well, it's all part of it. There's good and bad, and you have to talk about both, or it's not going to be relevant. I love what you're doing with YouTube, by the way. When I started doing YouTube videos in like 2008, I built like 300, and some of them were really stupid videos that I created for myself, so I wouldn't forget how to do something. Like, how do you create a new Google account when Google's already blocking you from creating because you've created so many as an agency? Well, gee, you could go through AdWords, right? And you can, add an email address to somebody who has to create an AdWords account, which then allows you to actually create a new Google account. So, like, some of these videos got like thousands of views unintentionally, because I was solving problems for myself and for the community. Next thing you know, you've got like 300,000 views, and you're like, holy crap, this is working really well. Yeah. We had to scrap almost all of our videos a couple years ago when we incorporated, because I look back, I'm like, man, these are like 2008, 2009. Yeah. Even if they're still relevant, they deserve to be refreshed. Yeah. So one thing I think would work for every SEO is to take every question that they answer in an email and just take the 30 seconds to read it on camera and create the video.
Well, you want to know what I did is when I first started YouTube, I was thinking all these different ways. I'll answer questions on Quora, I'll answer questions on Facebook, I'll start doing free audits for people. And then I realized, I'm like, dude, people are just interested in seeing like how SEO happens. Like the thing is, like, I started talking to some people, I'm not sure if you're familiar with people who are running OMG, like Ty Lopez and Cotton Grammar, all these people. But it was like they're selling very, very easy information, like how to set up a website, right? Okay. But charging thousands and thousands of dollars for these courses. Wow. And I talked to Cotton Grammar. He was sort of trying to help me for a little while. And one of the things that I found out about this guy is like people are not interested in learning super complicated stuff. The only people who are super interested in that is like people like you and me and like maybe 1% of other people.
That's true.
The other 99% people are just looking for, I want to live through this person's experience.
Right.
And so when I started realizing that, what I started doing is I started taking tutorials and my work and I started putting them together.
Right.
So say, for instance, I was just working on a client's website.
Okay.
I would tell the client, hey, look, I'm going to charge you a little bit less, but I'm going to broadcast what I do. Sweet. And that was now a tutorial. So the only thing I was doing differently is when I was working, I was just explaining what I was doing while I was working.
Right.
And now each of those are tutorials.
Some customers like that because it's free marketing.
And then it's also marketing.
Yeah.
Right. And then I'm linking back to their website. People are going to visit it.
Right.
And so that's how I was able to get so many videos early on, was just by broadcasting literally everything I was doing. Right. Because if I'm going to work 8 hours a day, why don't I get it recorded as well?
That's true.
And get content from it. Because we know that in my opinion, one of the biggest currencies next to transparency in the future is going to be content. Yeah. Because content is becoming so freaking expansive, and it's the more content you have, depending on the quality, right? You don't want to just freaking do what black hats do and just completely
all that
rearrange
stuff just dies over time. Thank God for Google Panda, right?
Right, exactly, and whatever other quality control algorithms it has, but the point is that if content is what we're working towards and it's quality content, and Google's able to understand quality content, user intent, all these things, then why not try to spend as much as our time possible, kind of killing more than one bird with one stone? Because I really see that the better we figure out distributing content in a way that's quality is going to really improve the value of any company.
It's true. Yeah, and I think that's kind of plays into feature and answer. This is other people start to find that content as being helpful, they curate it, and Google starts to assume that that's the best answer, and then you get that top answer box. So it's very cool. It is super hot in here, so I think what we're going to do is just kind of tie it up. Is there anything else that you want to talk about for the year, or anything you want to pick my brain about?
No, I think next time though we'll probably have you on our YouTube channel.
Do a little we'll just do like a video screen share or something. Let's just make it happen. But it's so cool to actually have you here, for sure.
Yeah, it was nice to meet you.
Yeah, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say there's a ton that I'd like to learn from Steve himself. I'm really actually happy to be here because I know there's like a ton I could learn from you. So
I'm just a tech geek. I think that's all we are, is just these tech geeks who just love search. So
well, that's the cool thing too, is when you get around people who actually know what they're doing, you really get to share. And that's the biggest drawback I see, is that I wish I could meet more people in the actual face to face in the SEO world, because I feel like we could share so much more and really create like something awesome rather than, you know, when you're just talking to people over Facebook, nobody trusts each other, and it's kind of, you don't really get to really share what's going on. So
that's true. Well, I really admire how just in the last few years you've just blown up from being somebody who's just really interested in search, who's now teaching it and selling products around search. Keep that momentum going. Don't let the naysayers and the other veterans in the industry tell you that it's something else, because really in many areas you're way ahead of them, because you're not so grounded on some old school techniques, and you're really focused on solving user problems. So I say keep that up.
Cool.
Thanks again for coming.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you soon.